Here's an interesting story out of West Virginia. There is a pagan group that was rejected from a Christmas parade, and the whole parade appears to be sponsored by the city of Parkersburg, West Virginia. And if that is the case, that would be an act of anti-discrimination that would violate the law. So I want to tell you what took place here because it's just developing even as I'm making this video. Basically, the Parkersburg Christmas parade is taking place on Saturday, December 7th in the afternoon. And if you go on the city's website, there is a link to the application you could fill out if you want to participate in the parade. The theme there is the spirit of Christmas. And by and large, it's just give us some biographical information so we can contact you, describe your float so we can describe it for the people watching the parade. We can do it from the megaphone, whatever, nothing weird about that. They also want to know what type of float is this? Is it for your business? Is it just a personal one? Are you part of a motorcycle group, an antique car, whatever? All that's fine. They tell you to submit it by November 26th. All that's good. And then this is interesting, and I think it's worth pointing this out. Look at this little disclaimer, which is really all they have on the application. It says, if you sign this form, you are releasing the city, downtown Parkersburg, and all parade sponsors, organizations, and volunteers basically from liability. So if you participate in this parade and something goes wrong, your car gets injured, you get injured, well, it's not the city's fault and you agree you're not going to file any lawsuit. That's interesting, and that's totally fine. But it suggests that the city wants to protect itself because it has something to do with the parade. You with me on this? The city is part of this. They're promoting this on their website. The liability absolves them of any wrongdoing. So keep that in mind. So the reason and by the way, I want to show you this too. On the city's website, I'm at the city of Parkersburg's website. You could see right there, it's listed on the website as an upcoming event, December 7th, Christmas parade. Okay, fine. So all that's there. So what happened in this situation? Oh, one thing I did want to point out, if you want to participate in the parade, I actually really like this. They said there's no fee to participate. You just have to donate 15 non-perishable items to local food pantries. That's lovely. That sounds great. So you didn't see anything about religion in there. It's not a Christian parade, as far as I can tell. It's a Christmas parade. It's meant to be inclusive. So one of the groups that applied is called the Appalachian Pagan Ministry. Okay, and here's their website, the Appalachian Pagan Ministry. And again, this is really interesting. I wasn't familiar with this group beforehand, but the APM is a pan-pagan ministry devoted to building an active, passionate, and spiritually fulfilled community of people from all backgrounds and faiths. We are devoted to engaging and impacting other pagans here and within the walls, believing it is our responsibility to set an example of service. This is where we come to walk our walk and educate by example. It is the desire of this ministry to show that pagans of all beliefs and faiths can work together to serve the greater community. That sounds wonderful, doesn't it? That's really sweet. One of the things, I was looking at their website, they also have this list of resources they offer. And this is interesting. They offer rational satanic recovery. It's like a 12-step program that's not religious like Alcoholics Anonymous. It's just a way for them to get together if you have any sort of addiction and whatever. It has a satanic flair to it. So seems like an awesome group. So they filled out the application to have a float in the parade because why not? They want to present themselves to the community, right? And that's all they said. In the application, I saw their application. Here's what it said. We're a nonprofit dedicated to serving those of non-Abrahamic beliefs who are incarcerated, formerly incarcerated, and or in recovery. And then they explained themselves a little more. It all sounded fine, but they submitted that before the deadline a couple of weeks ago. Then they never heard back. And so a few days ago, the group's founder, her name is Reverend Donna Donovan, she reached out to the city saying, hey, can you let me know what's going on with my application? Because, my group's trying to get our float ready. We want to make sure everything's ready, but I haven't heard from you yet. And she was then told the city did not want to work with her. So she was on the phone with the two organizers. Their names are Lori and John. And she was told that Lori and John spoke with the mayor of the city, and he said he had a problem with the group's pagan identity. And because, and I'm quoting here, your website states you work with Satanists. And that's a reference to that page I just showed you about recovery programs. Again, those organizers were just kind of reiterating what the mayor said. These are not necessarily their beliefs, but their hands were tied. And so they were relaying that information. And Donovan was like, okay, but you can't do that, right? I'm paraphrasing here, but she tried explaining to them that you can't discriminate against a group on the basis of religion. That's literally illegal. She said, I'm going to contact church-state separation groups, maybe the ACLU, maybe the Department of Justice, any group she can get in contact with if they go through with this. She's trying to peacefully tell them what you're doing is wrong. So, fix it. And then she got an email from them. I'm going to share with you the email that came after that conversation. Good afternoon, Donna. To follow up on our conversation after communication with the mayor of Parkersburg, entry to the Parkersburg Christmas parade is being refused. So the two volunteers said, we talked to the mayor. He still says no, so you're out of luck. Okay. So at that point, Donovan wasn't really sure what to do. I asked her, like, was your group's float offensive in any way? Was there any reason people should have been worried about it? And she said no. When she described it to me, it was as family friendly as you could have imagined. The float she wanted to have in the parade just had like a Christmas tree, a reindeer costume, hats, candy to give out on the parade route, lights. They even had little gnomes. Seriously, let me show you the gnomes because this was ready to go. These were the gnomes she wanted to have on the float. Again, the point is there's nothing offensive about this. These people were not going to go around like burning things with fire because hail Satan. That's not what the goal was. So it's not because of what they were planning to do with the float, which is why they were rejected. She also told me they spent quite a bit of money getting this float together because all this stuff, when you think about it, it's not cheap. She wouldn't tell me how much they spent, but she did say there was much expense. And this is what she ended up posting on Facebook afterwards because she wanted people to find out about this. She didn't want to wait for a lawsuit. She just wanted people to figure out what's going on. So this is what she shared. I'm just going to share excerpts with you here. This decision, only 3 days before the parade and after much expense, which we view as clear religious discrimination, contradicts the spirit of inclusivity and community that the holiday season represents. Seems fair. She says, we had hoped to celebrate the season alongside our neighbors by sharing a message of peace, love, and light, values that align with our spiritual beliefs and the broader ideals of the holidays. Instead, we have been met with prejudice, and our community has been told we're not welcome simply because of our faith. And then she goes on, the First Amendment to the Constitution guarantees freedom of religion and the right to participate in public events without discrimination. Excluding her pagan group from the Christmas parade undermines these rights and sets a harmful precedent for the exclusion of other minority faiths. We call on the Parkersburg community and parade organizers to reconsider their stance, take meaningful steps toward fostering inclusivity and mutual respect. We remain open to dialogue. We hope this incident sparks necessary conversations about equality and acceptance within our community. Okay, so very nice, honest press release about what's going wrong. Actually, I talked to Donna on the phone this week, and one of the things she told me is some of the group members, when they were thinking about what floats to have on this parade route, someone suggested like a Krampus-themed float, which I thought would have been awesome. But one of the reasons that idea was nixed is because they felt like, look, we don't want to rub anyone the wrong way. We want to be part of this community. We want people to like us, not fear us. And that's why they went with the Christmas theme instead. And so they actively tried to do everything by the book. So I will tell you, no lawsuit has been filed yet, but she has talked to a lot of groups that do church-state separation issues. I asked her if there was anything other people could do to help, and she just said, we need elected officials to understand constitutional law. But in addition to that, besides just voting a certain way, she urged people to become active in their communities by volunteering, feeding the hungry, helping the unhoused. And that is what her group is planning to do in the weeks ahead, regardless of what happens in the parade. And she also told me people hate what they fear, and fear is based on ignorance. The only way to eradicate hate is to educate. So she's a much nicer person than I am. I wanted to show you two really quick things, though. One is that back in October, when the city first announced this parade, this was an interesting Facebook post they made, because I was trying to figure out, well, who's sponsoring this? Is it a city-sponsored parade? And it's not explicitly mentioned anywhere. But this is something the city posted on its Facebook page announcing the parade. As a reminder, the parade is not organized by the city. So we're working closely with the organizer to disseminate information on our website and have that available soon. But if it's not organized by the city, why is there that disclaimer on the application? Why is the city sponsoring the parade on its website? Like, you can't have it both ways here. Pick a lane. And then, this is also interesting, just a couple weeks ago, the Downtown Parkersburg Facebook page posted about the parade as well. And they said, we do not oversee the parade. This is overseen by Lori, one of those volunteers. She has taken on this task for over 20 years, and she does a great job. If you have any questions about the parade, reach out to her. And by the way, they posted this like right after the pagan group sent in their application. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know who's responsible for this parade, but the mayor clearly has something to do with it. I will tell you, the mayor has not responded. I reached out to him. He didn't respond to me, but he hasn't posted anything publicly about it. And when I reached out to Lori, that organizer, to ask her, hey, what's up with the discrimination? Her only response to me was that I should contact the mayor, because she didn't want to talk to me about it either, which is shady. But that's where we're at right now. This parade is happening as I make this video on Friday night. The parade is happening tomorrow. Right now, the pagan group is not going to be involved in it. And the city has no good reason for why they should not be part of it. So if there's a lawsuit coming, I mean, it's going to happen after tomorrow. So we'll see. All right, I'm going to stop there for now. Take any questions. Then we'll move on to the next story. Christianity is not under attack. It's under scrutiny. Ridicule is not an attack. That is true. And I don't know if you're talking about the last story or this one, but either way, it is true. Like, I am not trying to destroy Christianity, or that's not my first priority. Like, I want religious freedom and inclusivity, and that means a neutral playing field by the government. The government should not be taking sides in this battle. But as you were seeing in this story, the city seems to really like Christian stuff, and non-Christian groups are out of luck. And that's where the city cannot be doing that. It's not religious persecution, it's religious equality. And they don't want that either. That's absolutely what appears to be the case. I'm very curious if the mayor, his name is Tom Joyce, I am very curious if he has spoken to the lawyer, to any attorney representing the city about this. And I don't know if the lawyer has said anything to him. I don't know if the lawyer told him to shut his mouth, or if the lawyer said, don't talk about this to anybody, just pretend like it never happened. Or if the lawyer told him, yeah, you're absolutely doing something illegal here, so you better hope this all just blows over real quickly. I don't know what the answer is, but this mayor just got elected a couple weeks ago for his third term in office by a comfortable margin. So, I mean, people like the guy, people support this guy, and this guy's breaking the law. Appears to be. A lot of parades are run by public volunteer committees, probably makes things murky for separation of church and state. Well, I don't think you're wrong about that. But then let's find out if it's just public volunteers, because that's what the various posts point to. They seem to say, no, it's just a couple of volunteers running the show. If that's the case, Okay, but then why is the city promoting it? Why are they putting the application on the city's website? Because again, this is where it's not murky at all. If it's just volunteers and it's a privately run parade, then the city should just have no business promoting it. It's not what a city is supposed to do. But the second they promote it, they're responsible for what happens or doesn't happen there. So again, I don't know what this means legally speaking, but the city is not wiping its hands clean of this event. They're very much pushing this through social media, through their publicly facing posts. So even if it is volunteers running the show, the city wants to be a part of this.